What's up, everyone? My name is Rad, and I am here today bringing you my guide on Sampo. I'll be going over his traces, talent, technique, Eidolons, recommended light cones, relics, and team compositions. I'm going to make all of my character guides as concise but detailed as possible. He will be level 60 and Ascension 4 for this guide. Timestamps will be listed down below in the description. Without further ado, let's drop that transition. Traces. Dazzling Blades. This is Sampo's normal attack. It deals wind damage equal to X amount of his attack. Ricochet Love. This is his skill, which is a bounce AoE, so it'll hit your selected target first and then bounce between random enemies. Same as his basic attack, he deals damage equal to X amount of his attack, but this time he also deals additional damage 4 more times equal to X amount of his attack, though these attacks are at random enemies. This one is solid because you are potentially able to apply stacks of Wind Shear, which causes wind damage over time. Plus, it also has a very good break effect, so you can deplete enemies' toughness meter pretty easily. Surprise Present. This is his ultimate. In this one, he deals wind damage to all enemies equal to X amount of his attack, but also it has a 100% base chance to boost the enemy's damage over time received by X amount for up to 2 turns. This ultimate is awesome because you'll boost every single type of damage over time effects from everyone applicable. This also includes the weakness break damage over time as well. The problem is that currently, since there is a limited amount of characters, there aren't that many that take advantage of his ultimate's debuff. Also, his ultimate is 120 energy cost, so it is on the higher end.
뭘 기대했어? 고객이 왕이지. 왕을 배신하길 바란다면 가격을 좀 더 쳐줘야지.
Wind Torn Dagger. This is his talent. His attacks inflict wind shear for up to 3 turns with a 65% base chance to apply it. Those affected by wind shear take wind damage over time equal to X amount of his attack at the beginning of each turn. You can stack wind shear up to 5 times. This talent is absurdly powerful. It applies to all of his attacks, which also includes his multiple hit actions. So his basic attack hits 3 times, which means 3 chances at applying wind shear. His skill can hit up to 5 times, so if it were to hit a single target, for example, they could potentially instantly have 5 stacks of wind shear procced on them. And then there is also his ultimate, which you have to factor in too. Shining Bright. This is his technique. Upon use, enemies within a certain radius of the area are inflicted with blind for 10 seconds. Those blinded can't detect your team, and upon starting battle, there is a 100% fixed chance to delay all the enemy's actions by 25%. Very good technique, mainly for the second part of it. Delaying actions is very beneficial in battles. For skill priority level ups, I recommend ultimate, skill, talent, and lastly, basic attack.
주사 맞을 시간.
Abilities. Trap Ascension 2 unlock. This will just extend his wind shear effect from his talent for 1 extra turn. So instead of 3 turns now, it is 4, which is pretty crazy. Defensive Position. Ascension 4 unlock. Upon using his ultimate, he'll replenish 10 energy. This is nice as you now build up his ultimate faster. Spice Up. Ascension 6 unlock. Those affected by wind shear now deal 15% less damage to Sampo. Very nice, since taking less damage is always a plus. Just like many other 4 stars in the past, Sampo at base is quite excellent. Eidolons only further enhance his kit. I'll be skipping his E3 and E5 as they only add levels to his skills respectively. E1, Rising Love. Upon using his skill, it'll deal damage 1 more extra time to a random enemy. Instead of 5 hits, it is now 6 overall. It's good because you can do a tad bit more damage, but also potentially apply another stack of wind shear. E2, Infectious Enthusiasm. Upon an enemy being defeated by wind shear, there is a 100% base chance to apply 1 stack of wind shear to all enemies. It's based off his talent, so it'll retain the 3 or more turn process. E4, the deeper the love, the stronger the hate. Upon his skill in hitting an enemy who currently has 5 stacks of wind shear or more, they will now instantly take 8% of the current wind shear damage. Great Eidolon, as it provides even further additional damage. Lastly, E6, increased spending. Man, that is something I do a lot. This now boosts the wind shear damage multiplier by 15%. Very good, so that it increases your overall wind shear damage. Honestly, if going for his Eidolons, they are all worth going for. You might not make the best of them right now, currently, but down the line, he'll definitely be a 1-2 punch combo with a certain someone and potentially others. Light cones. Sampo is of the nihility path or nihility, whatever way you want to pronounce it. Currently, there is only one 5-star light cone for it, and that is in the name of the world. This will increase his damage to debuffed enemies. Upon him using his skill, his effect hit rate for that attack increases by X amount. It'll also increase his attack as well. Enemies will also be debuffed by him due to his wind shear, so he does even more damage. Effect hit rate is how likely it is for a unit to apply a debuff on an enemy, so this increases his wind shear application. Plus an attack boost. Overall, arguably his best in slot. Light cone for 4 stars. I recommend good night and sleep well. For every debuff an enemy has, the overall damage done by him will be increased by a certain amount. It applies to his damage over time too. With this light cone and superimposition one, it's an overall boost to his damage dealt by 36%. And at superimposition 5, it goes up to a whopping 72%. Many things are considered debuffs in Honkai Star Rail, so it'll be easy to maintain this active. Next up, Eyes of the Prey. This will increase his effect hit rate and also his damage over time. Great as well, especially for the effect hit rate it provides. Then we have Fermata. It'll increase his break effect and also increases damage to those affected by shock or wind. It will apply to his wind shear as well. Another great one because he's very good at depleting toughness meters, but also the extra damage is nice as well. As for 3 stars, I recommend Void. Boost his effect hit rate for 3 turns. Considering his base is at 65% for his talent, this helps in providing wind shear application much easier due to the effect hit rate, though the problem is it only lasts for 3 turns. Decent option, I'd say. So for relics, Sampo is a bit easier compared to other units. His best I recommend is actually a 2+2 combo. That would be 2-piece Eagle of Twilight with 2-piece Musketeer of Wild Wheat. You'll gain a 10% wind damage boost from Eagle, but also a 12% attack boost from Musketeer. This 2+2 combo synergizes incredibly well with his whole kit. 4 primary stats to look for are on the body, attack percentage, effect hit rate, break effect. On the feet, attack percentage or speed. For substats, I recommend effect hit rate, attack percentage, break effect. As for planner ornaments, I'm switching to my Asia account since I've progressed the most here. My recommendations are Pan-Galactic Commercial Enterprise. This increases his effective hit rate by 10% and also provides an attack boost that is equal to 25% of his effect hit rate with a maximum of a 25% bonus able to be achieved. This is definitely his best planner ornament set. Space Sealing Station, mainly for the attack boosts it can provide. Talia Kingdom of Banditry, mainly for the break effect boosts it can provide. For primary stats, I recommend Planisphere, wind damage, link rope, attack percentage, or energy regen rate. For substats, effect hit rate, attack percentage, or break effect. So the thing about Sampo is that, like how I mentioned earlier, there is currently very few units that make use of his damage over time debuff. So for him, it's a bit difficult to recommend a team composition until other units release in the future. What I will do though is give character pairing recommendations. That way you can just fill out the rest with whoever you'd like. Characters I recommend to pair him with are Serval, Hook, Pella, or Himeko with her ability to unlock. Now, of course, play with who you want and how you want. It's about fun at the end of the day. Sampo is an absolute beast in my opinion because of his consistent dot damage. It's pretty easy to apply and it's very reliable, especially in Simu. He ultra excels in that game mode. Also, for some reason, he gives me vibes of Shu Tsukiyama from Tokyo Ghoul. If you know, you know. Probably because of the purple hair and how fashionable they both are. The question though is, if you get a Sampo, should you level him up? It depends how much you like damage over time currently. It's not prominent, but it will be in the future. I'm sure many can or have gotten by with single target nukers or tanky shielding. Even though I like him a lot, I will lean towards no at the moment. Another one in the books. Still got a few more left to go. If you enjoyed today's video, think about dropping me a like or a dislike. If you didn't, I'm always open to constructive criticism. Also, if you're enjoying the Honkai Star Rail content, think about dropping me a subscription as well. Would greatly appreciate it. Per usual, my name is Rad. You are all awesome. See you later.